guys, my name is Gabriela Hernandez and today I will be making banana bread.
So the first step you want to do is preheat your oven to 350. So that's what I'll be doing right now. So my materials and ingredients include a measuring cup, a large mixing bowl, 2 ripe bananas, 1 plate, some butter, 2 eggs, measuring spoons, baking soda, baking powder, salt, sugar, and some flour.
So the next step in the process is to combine the flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, and some salt. So the first thing I did was measure a cup of flour. So the recipe does say a cup and 3/4 flour, but we're gonna use the 3/4 later. So you're gonna add that into your big mixing bowl. And then the 2/3 cups of sugar. We're gonna measure that as well. The sugar you will be using all of it at right now. 2/3. And so for baking, you do want to be as accurate as possible. Not like cooking where you could kind of do without some. For baking, you want to be as accurate. There's our sugar. Our baking powder, we're going to use 2 teaspoons of that. So we do have our measuring spoons here. And there's 2 teaspoons. And then for our baking soda is a 1/2 teaspoon. So I have this back here. Teaspoon. Go. And then our salt, we're only going to use a 1/4 of a teaspoon for our salt. So it's a small little measuring spoon. Just gonna put a little bit of salt, just so it can balance out the sweetness and the savory. Okay. So the next thing in the process is to smash the bananas, which I think is probably the best part. Here we go. So you just want to peel them off. They want to be like brown, because the browner they are, the sweeter they are, which makes for good dessert recipes. So the significance of this recipe to me, it doesn't really have a cultural significance, but growing up, my mom did make this a lot for us. You know, it's good to have when you have like bananas that are going bad. You can utilize them this way, so nothing can get wasted. And so growing up, my mom would either make it in different ways. She would put it in like cupcake muffin tins or in a loaf, and me and my sisters loved it so much. We would request it all the time for like birthdays and stuff, just because it's so good, and the bananas make it really, really sweet. So you just want to mash it up with a fork, just so it gets all mashed up and there's no chunks in the actual recipe. So you want it to look like this. I don't want it to spill over, but you can obviously tell it's really mashed up. There's not really, like, it's fine if there's a little bit of chunks, but as long as the bigger pieces are out. So you just want to add this into your bowl, your big mixing bowl with all the flour, the sugar, baking soda, and stuff like that. So you add that right in. There you go. So the next steps in the process is to add the 1/3 cups of butter. So you're gonna add that in here, along with 2 eggs and the remaining flour, which is the 4th cup of flour. Go. And the 2 eggs. And the remaining. And measure out the 3/4 of the flour. So after you're done adding all your ingredients, you're gonna mix it, stir it with a fork. I like to do a fork first and then start doing like a spatula or something like that. Oh, and I forgot to mention that it's good to have your butter sitting out for a while before you add it into your mixture, just so it's softer and easier to stir. So after you are finished with the fork, you can move on to a spatula that will help you mix it a little bit better. Okay, so got my tool. And so this would be the time to add either pecans or some other nuts that you would like. I know a lot of recipes call for nuts. You don't have to put them. I'm not going to put them in today, but of course if you'd like, you. So it's going to look something like this. Just well mixed. Everything's incorporated together. There's like no flour on the rims, and it's very easy to mix, not tough at all. So the next thing you want to do is get your loaf dish. What I like to do before anything is make sure it's greased down. You can either do that with butter or you can do that with pan. I'm gonna do it with pan just because it's a little easier. So you just want to generally coat this just so nothing sticks and it's easier to cut at the end. And so, as you can see, it looks like this. It's just pan. And then so the next step in the process is to add the mixture into the pan.
After you pour all of the mixture in, it should look something like this. It should have like a little bit smaller depth because it will rise. This will go into the oven at 350 for 55 to 60 minutes. So I'm gonna do that right now.
So while that is baking in the oven, I just put a tablespoon of butter to melt in the microwave. So it's just melted like that, you can see. And then you want to get your brown sugar. And so for this is going to go on top of the bread after it's done baking, so it can give it a nice sweet flavor on top. So you just want to get just how much you want, about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. It's kind of at your discretion on how much or if you would like to do this, but I like to do it because it gives it an extra sweet flavor. And then so once you add it, you just mix it together, the 2 ingredients, until it kind of forms kind of like a little paste. I haven't tried it with actual sugar, I've only done it with brown sugar, and that's what works for me. But if you like to do it with sugar, I think it would taste pretty good. So it's just gonna turn into like a paste slash like watery mixture. It all just depends on how much brown sugar you want to add to the butter. So it's gonna look like this. Just like kind of like that, kind of watery, but still kind of pasty. I don't want it. Here we go. And I will be back once it's done.
Checking it up on it midway. This is how it looks. You can already tell it's already risen a lot, but it's not yet golden brown already.
So it just came out. This is right out of the oven. And so it should look something like this, well risen, kind of breaking. It's very hot. So right when it comes out, you're gonna add the mixture that we made earlier, the brown sugar and the butter. So you're gonna just spread that on the top of the banana bread and just kind of evenly coat it. Sometimes you could do half coated, half not coated, just depending on what you like. And so after this, we're gonna let it sit for 30 minutes and then come back and cut it.
So this is the finished product. You can tell it's kind of crumbly, but still nice and smooth and moist.